Happening now, inmate attack, the latest on charges lodged against a Jamestown man accused of assaulting a jail guard. And Jamestown's mayor is responding to reports a local development group violated their conflict of interest policy. Plus, it's heating up in the kitchen. A televised cooking competition at the St. Susan Center continues a look at the fiery cook-off so far.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, Mother Nature is once again throwing all of the elements at us today with some snow, ice, and rain in parts of Western New York. Chief Weather Forecaster Andrew Stevenson joins us at the top of the program to kind of explain, Andrew, because it's March, so we expect there to be some freezing rain and some snow possible, but it just seems like Mother Nature has been all over the place this winter.
It's been a weird winter, and it continues to be a weird winter. Even though meteorological winter has ended, the winter season continues on for a few more weeks. Winter weather advisories are in place for portions of the region. I say only portions of the region because Chautauqua County is not covered in it. Winter weather advisory will go into effect at 3 p.m. this afternoon until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for Cattaraugus, Allegheny County, and the rest of the region. But the winter weather advisory does not include Chautauqua County, does not include Warren County, and Erie County in Pennsylvania, mainly because there will be more warmer air across these areas, so more rain showers compared to the snow and wintry mix that portions to the north and east will get. So here's kind of a breakdown of this winter storm. The precipitation will begin moving from south to north later this afternoon around 2 or 3 o'clock. Starts off as a period of wet snow, but it will eventually turn over to a rain and mix across western areas, Chautauqua County, northwestern Pennsylvania, while areas off to the north and east remain more of snow. So that's why the winter weather advisory is not in effect for our area. And then it's also we'll also see wind gusts up as high as 40 miles per hour through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. And I'll time it out in the full forecast on Future Scan. Right now on defense Doppler radar, nothing happening on radar. Clouds are starting to move in. Radar is trying to show a few rain showers across Crawford County, Pennsylvania, but that's more than likely not hitting the ground. So just cloudy skies out there for right now. The rest of the afternoon out there, mostly cloudy skies will continue to around 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then that rain will start to that precipitation will start to move from south to north later this afternoon. Highs today will range from the mid to upper 30s, close to 40 with a southeast wind of 7 to 15 miles per hour. And again, I'll time it all out on Future Scan in full forecast in just a few minutes.
Everybody to stay up to date with the latest forecast in the WNY News Now mobile app. It's free to download. Well, even with the up and down temperatures this winter, the need for good clothing to keep kids warm, it's at an all-time high. Bronson Rasmussen joins us live in the newsroom today with more on an initiative at Jamestown Public Schools to try to help. Bronson?
Justin, at schools in the city of Jamestown, local educators are taking the initiative to keep kiddos safe from the elements. At each school in the Jamestown Public School District, there is an area designated for clothing, with the purpose of giving students in need the appropriate attire. At Love Elementary School, the need is apparent.
I noticed a lot of students coming in with sneakers on when it was snowy, and then their sneakers got wet and their feet were cold, just sweatshirts on versus a winter jacket. So through the generous donations of several people, we were able to purchase brand new winter coats for students.
Of those that received help is 4-year-old Kenesha Holmes, who's now sporting a new winter coat and boots, which she and her mom are very grateful for.
Being in Jamestown and having a community that really looks out for the kids and makes sure our kids are, completely good for the school year is a great feeling. We're so grateful for it.
Meanwhile, Jamestown High School has a whole classroom that has been repurposed to house a plethora of items for students.
We have coats, we have all kinds of pants, shoes, there's bags, we go through a ton of book bags, personal hygiene things, hats, coats. We even have food now for kids that need it. But the personal hygiene things, we go through a ton of that.
In addition, a Got You Fund has been established to ensure that anyone who may be underprivileged can participate in school activities without worrying about associated costs.
AP exams, we can pay for those. We can buy glasses for a kid. We could pay for camps. Like it's there for kids that there's an educational opportunity that they might miss out on because of their socioeconomic background, and all they got to do is let somebody know.
Now, if your child or a child you know is in need of hat, gloves, boots, or a jacket, educators ask the student or parent to simply bring the need to a teacher to get the process started. Reporting live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, great initiative to highlight. Thank you for that. An inmate at the Chautauqua County Jail is accused of attacking a corrections officer. The sheriff's office reported today that Isaiah Pearson, while booked at the lockup in Mayville following a standoff with police in Jamestown earlier in the week, allegedly became disorderly and started throwing items around on Tuesday. Now, when a corrections officer attempted to restrain the 28-year-old, he allegedly became aggressive. He attacked that officer, causing injury. Pearson has since been charged with second-degree assault. He remains in custody. Now, he was arrested on Sunday following a dispute and subsequent police standoff at the Cameo Apartments on East 5th Street here in Jamestown. A local roofer is accused of yet again defrauding a Chautauqua County homeowner by not completing a job and then running away with payment. In August 2021, the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office began to investigate James Haskins. Deputies said the 42-year-old Angola, New York resident was paid $2,500 to complete a roofing job in the town of Pomfret, but never followed through. Specifically, investigators accused Haskins of failing to purchase supplies and conduct really any work on the project at all. On Friday, he turned himself into the sheriff's office for grand larceny charges. Now, this is not the first time Haskins was accused of fraud. In 2020, the roofer was accused of accepting $3,500 for a similar roofing job in the town of Portland. And Jamestown's mayor is responding to reports that a local development group may have violated their conflict of interest policy when they approved funding to businesses connected to their own board members. This week, WRFA first reported that the Jamestown Local Development Corporation appears to have violated their own bylaws when they approved grants to a slew of businesses. Specifically, 3 separate allotments of $64,000, $15,000, and then $9,400 were made to a local wedding planner business, skate product shop, and church, respectively. While board members tied to each entity, Councilman Jeff Russell, Pete Shira, and Rector Luke Fodor recused themselves of a vote on these allocations. The JLDC bylaws strictly prohibit awarding funding to any body connected to or that has a relation to a sitting board member. Now, in a statement yesterday, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist said the allotments were made under the knowledge the funds were awarded appropriately and under legal and federal standards. Now, the mayor went on to thank the public that brought these issues to attention and said, quote, "If there are any disparities or actions contrary to law, we'll work to rectify those issues as soon as possible," end quote. Now, in the end, the mayor also said he believes the grants were done in a transparent and public process and were being made for the benefit of local business and the good of the public. Well, a one-of-its-kind bridal show is coming to the Northwest Arena this weekend in Jamestown. The Love in the Air Wedding Show will be held in downtown Jamestown this Sunday from noon until 4. The hours-long event will include a plethora of local vendors, each showing eager couples what they could provide on their special and important day. Director of Marketing and Events at the arena, Tanya Ronaldo, tells us that the show is a first of its kind for the arena specifically, a special opportunity for those who plan to come out.
As a wedding professional myself, one of the things that we always encourage couples to do is to visit a bridal show whenever you're starting to plan your wedding. It's overwhelming. It takes a lot of time, and finding vendors at one show can help you not only expand your search, but makes you feel a little bit calmer because, okay, well, at least I know where to find these individuals, these companies here in Western New York.
The Love in the Air Wedding Show, it's free for anybody who's planning a special day. I might have to check that out myself. Well, as WNY News Now continues, we take a look at new legislation that would help victims of gun violence here in New York. And later, an update on the toxic Ohio train derailment. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on Channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Hunting
Caitlin
on
Armstrong
private land has been quite the experience.
A package of legislation in Albany would extend support and protections for families of crime victims. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein breaks down these bills and talks to advocates about how they could impact them.
November 11, 2008, Marie DeLuce lost her 20-year-old nephew, Pierre-Paul Jean-Paul, to an act of gun violence. Today, she says she is advocating on his behalf and for other families.
A lot of us gun violence survivors, especially the one that's here advocating, we lost our loved ones to the street. We lost an entire generation, right? We do not want other families to feel the same way that we feel.
There are currently 4 bills introduced in the Senate and 3 in the Assembly intending to extend support and protections for crime victims and their families. These pieces of legislation intend to do this by expanding accessibility toward victim compensation funds and violence prevention services, creating a firearm violence intervention fund, and ending the defense of qualified immunity, a legal principle that protects public officials like police officers from some civil lawsuits. Some advocates say it's important for the legislature to address accessibility to victims' compensation funds.
It can be almost insurmountable odds for victims of crime and their families to get access to these funds that are supposed to be intended to help them.
The bills addressing victim compensation currently sit in committees and have yet to go to the Senate or Assembly floor for a vote. In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
This week, state lawmakers in the Pennsylvania House and Senate, they announced legislation addressing toxic school buildings across the Commonwealth. The legislation seeks to support the state's school construction program PlanCon. This initiative is when a district undertakes a major school construction project, it seeks to get some money back from the state to help the school. The legislation would fund maintenance programs within the PlanCon for critical projects and repairs, things like roofing, HVAC systems, boilers, plumbing, and other electrical.
I know firsthand from my own districts, Erie Public Schools, Harbor Creek Schools, the buildings are starting to get older, pipes are bursting, the electricity's out of date for today's modern technology. Just like you need to update your house, we have to update our schools.
Now, Rep. Bob Merkis and his Democratic caucus also introduced additional bills to address toxic school buildings. And Republicans in the Pennsylvania House say the Commonwealth is facing a structural deficit. They plan to target wasteful spending and fraud by improving state programs like Medicaid and make them more efficient and less susceptible to bad actors. Now, they argue that recipients could be costing taxpayers anywhere from $500 million to over $1 billion each year. House Republicans plan to reintroduce a package of bills that mirror federal programs and laws. They say the government is responsible for providing these services, but they're also responsible for making sure the money is going to the right people.
And yes, the government is also responsible to taxpayers who foot the bill for that safety net and to stop bad actors who are trying to game the system, taking resources away from people who truly need them and from the people who are working hard to provide for their families.
Some of the bills passed within the House's bipartisan support. They had bipartisan support prior to the session. Now, it never made it across the finish line in the Senate, though. House Republicans, they are hoping for a better outcome this year. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since a train carrying hazardous materials derailed on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. Crews are still cleaning up the mess, and families living near the crash site are still being impacted. A group of bipartisan lawmakers on Capitol Hill, they're crafting legislation they say will prevent future derailments. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp has more.
In the weeks after the Norfolk Southern train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, just right across from the Pennsylvania border, which led to toxic chemicals spilling and a controlled burn of substances, a group of bipartisan congressional members are introducing legislation they say will prevent future rail disasters and hold companies accountable.
Rachel, if I had to summarize it in terms of what happened to the people of Ohio and Pennsylvania, Darlington, Pennsylvania, Beaver County, we have got to be responsive to them in two ways. In the short run, making sure that every federal and state agency are helping the people in the community and doing everything they can under existing law to hold Norfolk Southern accountable.
Senator Bob Casey is co-sponsoring the Railway Safety Act of 2023 in response to the crash.
It'll improve safety requirements, especially for rail cars, rail companies transporting hazardous material. Sometimes that gets left out of the safety requirements. A lot more and tougher audits and inspections of rail companies and rail cars. Thirdly, it'll impose very tough civil penalties on these companies. Sometimes a company can have all kinds of violations, and they're a multi-billion-dollar company, and they pay a pittance.
Casey is pointing the finger at Norfolk Southern for this disaster, calling them the bad actor. But he says this bill will most importantly also focus on supporting communities impacted by rail disasters, like requiring first responders to have training to safely manage a potentially toxic and deadly crash scene.
We can't wait for some future policy debate. We've got to help them right now.
At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. In the preliminary report, the NTSB determined a wheel bearing was in the final stage of overheating before the crash. The legislation Casey and others are proposing will address wheel bearing issues, mechanical failures, and require more oversight for maintenance. Well, coming up, we're meeting a new furry friend that's up for adoption as our pet of the week. And later, a charity cooking competition. It continues this weekend here in Jamestown. We take a look at production for this TV show. But first, Andrew with more on today's weather and a look ahead at a storm that's coming our way.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Slow down, and move over. Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights, vests,
please give us some room.
slow down.
Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
to help you,
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger is real.
Do your part.
Please
Slow down, and move over.
move over.
So you think you can cook? chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Events Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, cloudy skies. Current temperature to Jamestown Airport 37 degrees with a southeast wind of 12 miles per hour and a wind chill of 29. The almanac for yesterday, we made it to a high of 41 degrees yesterday. The low was 29. The records for today, the record high 71 set back in 1991 and a record low of negative 21 set back in 1980. Here's what's happening across the Northeast and the Great Lakes right now. Our low pressure system that's going to be responsible for all this rain and winter weather we're going to get over the next 24 hours is currently centered over portions of Tennessee, and actually down in Tennessee and Kentucky, southern Indiana, they're dealing with severe weather down there, flash flood warnings. You see that little yellow box that popped up is a severe thunderstorm warning, and the bright red down there is a tornado warning. So they're dealing with all this severe weather down there, which is this system also had severe weather in Texas and was responsible for a winter storm and lots of snow that California saw. We won't see a lot of snow here. We won't see any severe weather, but we will see some winter weather. So let's time it out on future scan. Around 2-3 o'clock this afternoon is when the precipitation will start moving from the south to north, starting off as a period of snow and then switching over to a mix of mainly rain across Chautauqua County and northwestern Pennsylvania, while areas off to our east and north remain as snow. As we head into this evening tonight, we might get a dry slot mixing in there before it turns back over to rain and wet snow through the night. And then heading into the day tomorrow, we'll have some snow showers through the day, but snow showers will begin to taper off through the afternoon with mainly cloudy skies through the rest of the afternoon and an overnight period of Saturday. And then high pressure will begin to build in by the time Sunday rolls around, and other than a sprinkle or flurry area on Sunday, we should see partial clearing by Sunday afternoon. So here's a look at snowfall totals through Sunday morning. We might see an inch or two across the southern tier, 2 to 4 inches across the eastern portions of the region, get into Cattaraugus, Allegheny County, 2 to 4 inches around the Buffalo area, and then the heavier snow will be found across the Niagara frontier and near the Lake Ontario shoreline, where they might be seeing 4 to 8 inches of snow up that way. And now the future, the next 7 days. Again, tomorrow, light snow, temperatures in the mid-30s. Clearing skies on Sunday, temperatures in upper 30s, close to 40. On Monday, we have a slight chance for an isolated shower, but otherwise temperatures might make it close to 50 on Monday. Have a couple flurries in forecast on Tuesday with chilly temperatures in the lower 30s for the next week.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. Well, in an effort to help our furry friends find a forever home, we're partnered with the Chautauqua County Humane Society for our Pet of the Week. Joining us in studio today is Brian Papalea with a beautiful kitten, Charlotte, who is absolutely a big snuggle bug.
Yeah, she was, you saw her when we came in, she was riding my shoulder.
Yeah.
She was stood out there for a while, she was hanging out. Yeah, she's about 3 months old. She just was spayed yesterday, or not yesterday, I'm sorry, Monday. She was spayed Monday, and she is ready to go to probably a very wide range of homes.
Yeah.
She currently lives in Whiskerville we have 13 other kittens in there right now. And so she, gets along with other cats and kittens. Older cats, that'll be a little bit of a test at home.
Right. It's usually the other resident of your house that sometimes has a little objection. But she's given me the same vibes. It's always kittens. I think they have the same personality.
I think so, for the most part. Yeah.
She's like just so lovey.
Yeah.
And just wants to love. The same vibe as Ben, Alyssa's cat, which was adopted on the show, where she's just like, I just want to snuggle.
Yeah, and it's funny when they kind of grow into their personality, and I think they learn a lot from their family.
Yeah.
Because we've had a couple of kittens that we've had now. They're in the 2-year kind of. My boy actually turned 2 yesterday, and you can see how they kind of grow to you. And it's pretty exciting. And something I will say too is with us having as many kittens as we have right now, and we're going to have more because kitten season is right around the corner. If you don't have any animals and you're thinking about it, you might want to think about getting 2 kittens because they're social animals, and it's good for them to have a playmate and have that brother or sister to kind of tumble with and have conversations with.
And I can testify firsthand that Mine is microphone eating, which is always awesome. My mom has 2 kittens, and it's Rampus room. I mean, they love on each other, they clean each other, and they love my parents and they interact with them. But at the same time, they have each other.
Yeah.
And a cat, especially as independent as they are, it's not as, I don't want to say it's as much work as a dog, because it can be. You have to give input.
It depends on who you talk to.
Right.
I personally, I think like having cats seems like a lot less work. I've never had a dog, so I don't know. But they do have their challenges. My boy, even at 2 years old, he pops me in the top of the head 4 o'clock every morning.
Yep.
So
it's time for breakfast.
Yeah. So they have their moments, but it's worth it.
Right. Absolutely.
It's definitely worth it.
And with somebody so cute as this, I mean, how can you resist Charlotte? I mean, she's just ready to go into someone's arms, and sometimes that's all it takes. If you're looking for an animal, you go in, you sit down, and they'll come to you.
And the adage is I think fairly true, is that they pick you more than you pick them, and it's worth it. It's definitely, like you were saying, there's definitely a work and responsibility in vet care.
Right.
And on that note, when we adopt out, all animals have been spayed or neutered. They're all up to date on their vaccinations. They have a microchip, which is right about there. Ish. They do move once they get in there a little bit, but so if you're, unfortunately, if your pet does get lost, they can be scanned and you can be connected, and then they get a little flea treatment and stuff. So they are ready to go.
Yes, certainly, and all of the adoption proceeds go to help more animals. You guys keep it
everything.
Going, which is,
like
which
anything
is
we do, like we have our pennies for paws. Thank you
Yeah.
for supporting that the way that you are here on Western New York News Now. Everything we do goes into the care of the animals and helping as many as we can.
It's just so important to
really
help
is.
these little guys. Again, if you want to learn more about our friend Charlotte here, you can head on over to chqhumane.org and schedule a time to come in and see her too. Well, coming up next, so you think it can cook? It continues this weekend. We hear from the show's host about production of this streaming series and the talents now on display from local chefs.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
So you think you can cook? Chefs test their skills, competing in a charity cooking show competition that features a platter of unusual ingredients, including popular local cuisine.
Davison's fish fry with some French fries.
Judged by a panel of local celebs, So You Think You Can Cook, produced by Channel 716, all proceeds raised to benefit the St. Susan Center in Jamestown, New York.
WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
The issue for the agriculture community and some GOP lawmakers is the new financial burden.
The DA telling me he's received 30,000 files alone from New York State Police in the form of things like PDF files, Excel sheets, and video evidence.
Once those 4 graduate from the academy, it will leave the city of Jamestown with 60 firefighters.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Though the first round of the televised cooking competition, So You Think You Can Cook, is in the books, there's still time to get a front row seat to the accident. Audience spots are available for Saturday, March 4th, this weekend, and next weekend, the 11th. A $15 donation at the door gets you a behind-the-scenes look at production and some delicious food. Julia Gress with a recap of last week's action.
So You Think You Can Cook host and Channel 716 founder Lee Kane says the chefs at last week's competition fundraising brought their A-game.
I don't think that you can actually see the meals that they produced and say, I don't want to try that. I think that it is an excellent representation of the talent, especially the culinary talent that we have in this area.
All chefs competing are local, including Margot Stewart, owner of Ariel's Bed and Breakfast, Nathan Hallberg with Steiner's Pub, and Camille Hodnett, who owns CK Kitchen and is chef at the St. Susan Center.
They're using these random ingredients and plus what we have in our pantry and to come up with this culinary delight.
Chefs have 40 minutes to prepare an appetizer with the mystery ingredients for the judges to try. While the judges are tasting, the audience participates by voting for their favorite soup.
They each bring in a soup, and that soup is judged by the audience, and it competes with the St. Susan Center soup, so there's actually 4 soups.
With demand at St. Susan Center increasing, the organization hopes the community will come down and support their cause.
Not just to support the community, if you want to come down and have a good time, because we do put on a show. So there's going to be some joke telling, there's going to be interaction.
Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
We are so proud to partner with Channel 716 in St. Susan's. That's it for us. News at WNYNewsNow.com.